Welcome to Big Blend Radio's California Sequoia Country show, home to Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks, Giant Sequoia National Monument and Sequoia National Forest, and the charming historic agricultural communities that make up Tulare County. Welcome, everybody. It is September. We're so excited because it starts to cool down a little bit in California Sequoia Country, which is Tulare County, makes up amazing agricultural towns like Tulare, Visalia, Porterville, Dinuba, Lindsay, Woodlake, Springville, Porterville. Did I leave anybody out? Suzanne, help me on this. Exeter. We can't leave out Exeter. Three Rivers, which is a gateway to Sequoia National Park. All these awesome communities. All of them have public art. All of them have awesome shopping, awesome food, breweries. Basically, you need to go. But the crowning jewels are also the Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks, the Giant Sequoia National Forest, and also Sequoia National Forest. So today we're going to talk about what you can experience at the beginning of fall, September, and going into October. So first, we've got Holly Brown here from Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks, and September is a big month for Sequoia and Kings Canyon because the parks are, Sequoia National Park is celebrating a birthday, and I believe this is one of our oldest parks, right, Holly? Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Yes, that's right. So September 25th is the birthday of Sequoia National Park, which is the nation's second oldest national park. It was founded in 1890.
Wow. And at that time, Kings Canyon came after, but that was actually the General Grant National Park, right?
That's right. It did start off first as General Grant National Park, and then when they realized there was more to include, it ended up becoming Kings
Canyon National Park. Yeah, That's got bigger. And Sequoia National Park kind of got bigger at that time too, right?
Yeah, we've grown a lot. We have incorporated a lot more of Sequoia grove since our beginning days.
Well, we want that. You've got Sequoia National Forest in there that kind of connects in between the park and then all the two parks and Giant Sequoia National Monument. So that's really cool that you're all kind of connected with that. So people have so many different experiences between the parks, the forests. But we do also say, so September 25th is the big birthday. Do we get cake? Or should we just bring cake? We need to bring cake. We're going to cake again. Didn't we talk about cake last month too?
That's right.
Like, come on. We want cake. So, but then today as we record this, and we're here every first Thursday, everyone. We're recording on the anniversary of the 60th it's the Wilderness Act, right? So can you give everyone just an overview of what the wilderness is versus the main parks of a park? Because the wilderness is not just in a national park, right? It could be connected with either like a monument or something too, right?
That's right. So the Wilderness Act was signed into law September 3rd of 1964. So we're celebrating the 60th anniversary. And it was President Lyndon B. Johnson who signed it in. And we're all thankful that he did because the wilderness is very specific. So there's several different definitions in the actual Wilderness Act itself. And I would encourage everybody to celebrate today by reading the Wilderness Act. It's not that long, but it talks about how the wilderness is untrammeled, meaning that it hasn't been touched by man, and where man is the visitor and not the constant. And so there's a lot of really cool specific definitions about how the wilderness is just left as it is, untrammeled by man, and it's a place for people, and it was reserved specifically for all people so that they could connect to the wilderness and see nature as it is and enjoy it for its peaceful nature.
So for those who are park travelers who want to go into the wilderness, it's not like you just go tromping off into the wilderness, right? Isn't there like a permit or like you need to check in so people know that you're going there? Because there's bears out there, y'all. And I'm saying this, y'all, because we are in New Orleans today. And there's another national park out here. You have bears. They have alligators. They should be, maybe.
Yeah, you're right. So when people want to visit the wilderness, there's a couple of things they can do. First, start planning where in the wilderness they want to go. And a lot of national parks have wilderness. Our park specifically has a large wilderness. So it's a park that people frequently do visit specifically for all of the untouched areas that we have. And what they'll need to do is figure out where they want to go and then go to recreation.gov and make a reservation there for a wilderness permit. And of course, if people don't know exactly where they want to go, we have a whole wilderness office that people can find the phone number online and just give a call. And our rangers are happy to help plan a wilderness trip as well. And of course, that should kind of be based on someone's experience and how comfortable they are out in the wilderness and how much they know about preparation. There's a lot of things involved in wilderness travel. You have to bring your own food, some water filtration. It's pretty detailed and very exciting.
Yeah, it is. And you travel as light as possible. Otherwise you're carrying a ton. So don't think about a suitcase. It ain't happening. Not at
Yeah.
all. Yeah, really. And you want to pack it in, pack it out, right?
Pack
So
it
you
in,
don't
pack
leave.
it out. Yep. Keep these
Yeah.
areas that we have decided to protect pristine by carrying out your trash.
Mm. So the permits are important to go to recreation.gov. Is this year round or is it only in the spring through fall, winter? When is the open season for this?
Yeah, so I would have to double check, but I think we're coming up on the end of the quota season. So part of
Okay.
the Wilderness Act and how we protect the wilderness is by having a quota system. So only a certain number of people are in the wilderness at any given time. And so that's another reason we have that wilderness office so that we can issue permits that are appropriate for the amount of people that are allowed out in the wilderness at any given time.
Does it matter by season? Does anybody want to go out there in the snow? Like, I don't know, man. I heard that you sleep naked in sleeping bags to keep warmer. I brought that up on a show before, and I'm still wondering if it's true. But you don't have to answer that, Holly.
Okay, great.
She's a federal employee. She's not allowed to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So absolutely, different seasons, different areas are great for different seasons in the park. We do
okay.
have a lot
Oh,
of
wow.
we do have a lot of access to some cool places even in the winter, and that's a little bit closer to our front country is what I would recommend. But people can still go on day hikes here in the winter, which is really great.
Okay, cool to know. Cool to know.
Mhm.
So public lands is coming up. That's another big thing too, right? So
Yep,
yeah.
Public Land Day is coming up, and that's really nice because it celebrates all of those different land management agencies that help protect our wilderness and help protect our public lands so that everybody can enjoy them.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. I love Public Lands Day because that's what we do. We travel full time to document these places, and we have a lot. And we have to think, America's National Park Service just celebrated its birthday, right? It was
Right.
celebrate August 25th, everyone. And I can't believe it. Like, this was the first place in the world for national parks. You think about it, and then all these other countries, including Africa, like a continent, had all these different parks put into place. And so it's really iconic what we have done with America's national parks. And the connection between the parks and the communities, I think, is something very important to touch on. And that's what we do on these shows with you guys, coming on, talking about the Sequoia Country, which is Tulare County and the community. So, Suzanne, Visalia is pretty much, I would say, the biggest city, right, in Tulare County, the
I
county
would think
seat
so.
anyway,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but it's not like going to LA, right?
No.
It doesn't feel like a city to me coming to Visalia. Like, how many people do you think are there?
That live in Visalia?
Hmm.
140,000 people.
Oh, that's a nice balance. And Tulare's growing, right, Cassidy? Uh, Cassidy's here from the Tulare Chamber of Commerce. How many people do you think are in Tulare now as a city?
Not sure. I'm not too sure, but I know it's growing exponentially. But
Yeah,
we're a
you have.
little bit under
Yeah.
Visalia. We're like a little bit lower the population than Visalia.
Oh, wow. So it's there. And then Porterville's growing. I mean, everyone's growing, but you have a lot of agricultural going on. So a lot of harvesting happening now, right? Is it busy, Suzanne, in the fields?
Yeah, it's busy year round here. There are different crops that are ready for production at any time during the year. So I think like they
Mm,
pick oranges even like 10 to 12 months a year, 10 months a year maybe. So
wow.
yeah,
I always thought
so
that was
lots of
coming in
different
the
things.
fall.
Nuts and of course dairy is big here and that's
Yeah.
daily, you know.
Yeah. Cassidy gets to have cheese and ice cream every single day, right?
Every
And
day.
frothy milk in her coffee. Yeah.
That's
In
right.
Tulare. Tulare knows about dairy for sure. So let's talk about some of the events. And, I encourage people, like, when they go to the park, to spend days also off the hill, off the mountain of the Morrow, off of Morrow Rock. Spend some time in the parks, spend some time in the communities, because there's the events, there's the museums, there's so many attractions, there's other parks and public lands to visit too. But Suzanne, tell us a little bit of what's going on in Visalia. Give us a little overview of Visalia for those who are new listening, because you got a very historic downtown and
Yeah.
public art and
Yeah, well, this is actually a really great time for all of these communities in just outside of the park, because we're entering into fall. The weather starts to cool off. There's a lot of great public art throughout the communities to enjoy. And because of that great weather, we have a lot of festivals and events that happen during the fall. We're excited. We have something new happening this year in Visalia called In a Landscape, Classical Music in the Wild, which you know a little bit about, Lisa. You've met Hunter Nowak before. Hunter is a classical pianist, and he brings his 9-foot Steinway piano into open spaces, outdoor spaces, and plays and encourages people to explore the outdoors while listening to his music. You're given a pair of headsets so you can listen to the music and can travel. I don't know how far away from the piano you can get, but pretty far. And he really encourages people to explore the natural surroundings that he's playing in while listening to him play the music. So it's a really unique event this year. It's held at the Tulare County Museum in Mooney Grove Park. So, that's a great space. It's California's first county park was Mooney Grove. So, it's a great place to visit. And then to have this event happen on September 15th in the afternoon, early evening. Bring your own chairs and you can just explore or not, lay down on your back and just listen to the music. I've even seen pictures of people laying under the piano, touching the piano to hear the vibrations from the instrument. So a really fun event. It's a great opportunity for people to explore the outdoors and listening to music. Those that maybe haven't listened to classical music before might have a new appreciation for this whole event.
so this is what weekend again is this happening? Because I know that if you book at the right time, right, at the hotels, and Visalia has a lot of great hotels, that you can actually get tickets for the event.
Yeah, Visalia is offering a special deal for people that reserve a hotel room night for the night of September 15th. We'll give them 2 tickets for the event. So that's a great incentive to come to the area. And of course, hope you stay and go visit the parks and take advantage of, these beautiful parks that are in our backyard that are being celebrated through Public Lands Day and the birthday of Sequoia National Park. Yeah,
That's
great
a
time to
good
come
month.
visit.
Well, let's also touch on the Dark Sky, because the festival, the Dark Sky Festival. I remember it began like quite a few years ago, 3 days, and of course he kind of had to. We all know we had to slow things down a bit. There was this little history of the world that slowed everything down that kind of sucked, but but now we're getting back into 3 days of this festival growing, and it seems like we always think about going into our parks during the day, but I love this festival because the number one thing is it reminds us that parks protect the land, but also the sky by having this in. I mean, the national park is the ultimate protection of a piece of land, right? And it protects history, nature, but also the sky. So sky pollution is a big deal with the parks, right, Holly? That's part of why we have the national park is the sky. So this dark sky program reminds us that things go on. Things do go bump in the night in the parks. I'm just saying they do. They may scary, they may do things, but also if you look up, for those of us living in cities, we often don't get to see those amazing star nights, those star-filled nights, the Milky Way. You can see things on your phone and a computer, but if you can see it for yourself, this is a big deal. And then actually understand what we're looking at. That's the whole thing too. So Suzanne, this is a big event every year.
It is a big event. Dark skies are really important to the health of the national park. Holly, you can probably talk a little bit more about that. But, half of the park is in the dark. So, they have events throughout the daytime that are for people that are interested in astronomy and understanding the dark skies. The weekend gets kicked off with a free event here in Visalia at the Fox Theater. They'll be airing the movie a million miles away. And it's the story of the son of farm laborers here in the Central Valley who went on to become an astronaut. So it's a really inspiring story of his trajectory, I guess, to where he is today as a scientist and an astronaut. So that's a free event at the Fox Theater on Friday, September 6th. So that should be an exciting kickoff to the weekend. Holly can probably talk a little bit more about some of the activities that are happening up in the park to enjoy the dark sky and different exhibits throughout the park that people can explore. And it's all free. You have to pay your park admission, I believe, but the event itself is free, and all of the being able to look through the telescopes and talk with all the people, all of that is included in your price of admission.
And by the way, get your admission at the gate. It helps the park directly.
Well,
Just saying.
Actually, I think they want you to buy your ticket online, your park passes online to help with getting people into
Is
the
that
parks.
true now? Are
right
we
now,
changing
yeah.
up? Okay.
Especially for a busy
Yeah,
weekend like that. It's buy it in advance
Yeah.
online, have it on your phone so you can just flash it when you get there. And yeah.
Oh, wow. So Holly,
Yeah.
tell us, well, let's get into the park passes before we close the show, but tell us more about the dark sky first, because I really do want to revisit that with park passes, because Christmas is coming, y'all. Get your park pass for people. It's the best stocking stuffer ever, right? So just do that. But anyway, go ahead, Holly. Tell us about the Dark Sky Festival this weekend coming up, right? So starting September 6th, this weekend. And if you can't make it and you're just hearing about it now, it's happening again next year. So, but tell us a little bit.
That's right. And it's going through the 8th. So it's going through Sunday. And there are all kinds of events happening all throughout the park. And a lot of it is kind of in our lodgepole area, lodgepole and Giant Forest. So our park partners, the Sequoia Parks Conservancy, is really leading this event. And they have a great agenda that everyone can see all of it online, actually, at sequoiaparksconservancy.org. And the Dark Sky Festival agenda is laid out there, but they've got some great keynote speakers. They're going to have some telescopes up by the Wuxachi area, so people can come out and kind of learn about what they're seeing. Some information about the solar system, about photography. I know there's going to be a photographer there that can talk about astrophotography, I think it's called. So they've just got a lot of cool speakers and a lot of interaction. Some park rangers will be out there also to interact. Bring your kiddos, bring your family. It should be a really nice time to just learn more about the skies and our universe.
I know it's kind of humbling when you're looking at all those stars and then you start connecting them all and learning about them. It's like, wow, we're just a little speck on Earth. And then we feel like, yeah, but we're connected. That's what the parks do. Like, it reminds us that we're connected. We're not just, a speck in a mound of concrete that we do, right? We build all these things, but when you go in the parks, it's just this humbling experience. But then it really reminds us that us humans are connected to this amazing universe that we have. So I love that about the skies. And so learning about the photography, I think everyone wants to learn that. And our phones have done, our phones are getting better than regular cameras, right? I think at this point, our phones are doing some epic things that you're just like, what? We can actually photograph the moon with the phone. Did you all think that when you were a kid? Like, seriously, that this would come to that? It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So, Holly, let's go to the park passes. So because we have all these different ways, I always like to bring this up because I think it's probably, especially for families, one of the most economical thing you can get as a family for travel and experience, education. If budget is tight, give your family a park pass for the year. Really. What would you say?
Yeah, that's right. And there's actually several different pass choices that people can choose from. So you can get an annual pass, you can get a day pass, and that's good for a week here at Sequoia.
Oh, cool.
And
That's
Kings
cool.
Canyon. And then, of course, there are special passes for like our seniors, our military, and then fourth graders get a free pass for the year. So don't forget that if you have a little one. But we've been really happy that people have been buying their park passes in advance on recreation.gov because it helps get people into the park faster so they can start experiencing the park sooner. It keeps our lines from getting backed up. So if they have that park pass ahead of time on their phone, it just saves, I think, about 3 seconds per transaction or something like that. I can't remember, or 3 minutes per transaction. And so all of that really adds up when you're having thousands of visitors a day, and it just moves that line a little bit faster so that people can get up into the parks instead of just idling their cars on the roadway.
Oh, that's good for the environment then too, right?
It
And
is.
so,
That's
yeah,
right.
because I know it also helps with park staffing and all of that, getting things moving. So when we talk about using our phone, this is one thing I wanted to touch on too. And then we've got to go to Tulare because I know Cassidy's like, come on, y'all, we have a party happening. We have things to talk about there too. But using your phone for park passes and everything too, you have the Park Service really invested in creating an app for our phones that we can really use also for offline. So when we were talking about the wilderness area, can we get like the map of where we're going in the wilderness offline on our phone? Of course, you're
Yeah,
going to charge
absolutely.
it by like having solar or something, right? But you can. We got solar backpacks and stuff.
Yeah, they do have some great solar charging options out there, but definitely you can download the park map from the app, and that's really helpful whether you're in the park just for the day or out on a wilderness trip, because a lot of people lose cell phone service about 5 minutes into the park boundary. And so if you have that app ahead of time, then you can look at that to kind of see where you're going. Of course, printed maps are really great too.
I know. So the wilderness, do you get printed ones too for when you go out in the wilderness?
Yeah, so whenever you check in with our wilderness rangers, they'll do a check in with every group before they go out into the wilderness, if the permit holder. And maps are available through our wilderness rangers and those offices.
I think I'm one of those. It's terrible. Every time I clean my car out, I find National Park Service maps everywhere. And some people have made coffee tables. I did all 63 parks, and then a new park opens. They're like, I have to crack the, the potato open, the coffee table open because they've like laminated everything into like, picture frames and everything. Because we all collect those maps, those maps, and, here's your visitor guide. And then when you look at them, it just reminds you of everything you've experienced. I know we've got our photos, but I mean, you guys give us this overview of the geology, the nature, the trails. I mean, it's awesome. So we all have those, like, we want our maps. I know we shouldn't be taking so much paper, but we want them.
Yeah, and I should add too, you do get a little map of the park as you enter the park. There's a map in the
Mhm.
park planner, and so everyone will get that when they come through. When you're in the wilderness, you might consider getting a more detailed map to take
Yeah,
a look
yeah,
at.
you want that. Yeah, yeah, you do. You need to know. You need to know. Okay, Cassidy, I know you've got wine coming up. You've got a fair coming
Yes.
here. What's going on? Tulare's
So
happening.
Tulare it's harvest time. We're celebrating over here. We have a lot of community get-togethers. Our fair, it's fair time. Our fair starts on September 11th through September 15th here. It's the Tulare County Fair. It's a big deal here. And you can I think tickets are already on sale for that, or you could just get them at the box office here. We open that fair with a quilt of honor ceremony where we honor our veterans. Some veterans get nominated, and we like to just shed light on them and all their hard work and what they've done for our country. So it's a really fun opening day, right? So we show up and we cut the ribbon, we honor the veterans, and then we get to ride some rides and eat some good food. A couple weeks after that, on October 11th, we have our Crush Party coming up, and that's a fun event. It's a big wine and foodie event here. So if you want to listen to some live music and kind of taste the San Joaquin Valley, we'll have over 50 vendors there. Just variety of food and drinks, and you just pay your ticket and you can have as much as you want. And it's a good time.
Did you just say we can pay our ticket and have as much as we want?
It's a buffet style. You just walk around and wine and cheese and whatever
And
else is
the
out
and
there.
the
I got
Uber driver too. We want an Uber
everything.
driver after this event, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, no driving people. That sounds like one of those.
we'll have
So this
Uber.
is really great. So people like if you're a visitor in town, I know Donette always talks about going to community events as part of travel, and we do
Mhm.
too because you're meeting the locals and you're starting to find out what is all these connections, like what, who's what and where. And I
Yeah.
think, when you go to these kinds of events, it's really cool, but you have a ton of hotels in your backyard too, right?
We do. There's places to stay right down the road from the party if you wanted to, and then, head into the parks the next day
Mm.
if you like. It's on a Friday night, so you could do that on a Friday night and then go spend the weekend exploring the surrounding
Mm.
areas.
Ah.
Yeah, it's perfect.
That's a good way to get your start. In fact, that means I may want to come in even a day earlier because why not? Oh, Holly's gone. So I wanted to go back to you, Suzanne. Tell us a little bit about the shuttle buses. Are they coming through still at this time of year?
They just
Uh,
ended,
okay,
yeah, Labor Day weekend was the last run. They'll start running
okay,
again Memorial Weekend in next May. And
okay,
people, and usually about February, the tickets will go on sale to get the external shuttle. That's the one that picks up at the hotels along the 198 route into the park. And then there's an internal shuttle for anybody who is in the park that comes every 10 minutes or something like that. It's a free step on, step off. That will operate during some of the holiday times, like during Thanksgiving week or the week between Christmas and New Year's. The internal park will operate when crowds are expected
okay,
to be a little bit bigger. So they might see
okay.
it crop up sometime between now and next May at various times.
So Holly, with fall being here, I mean, I know that you've just gone through probably the heavy part of the season for the park, right? Labor Day weekend is like I remember doing Labor Day weekend at Mount Rainier and I went, what was I thinking? Because I left the park and tried to get back in and I was like, dude, you're never going back in. But
Yeah.
fall, isn't this kind of one of those special times to get into the park? And you could even get a dusting of snow like out of nowhere, right? It could happen.
Well, I would like to say that every time of the year is a great time to come into the
I
national.
agree. I'm just saying, but yeah.
But yes, I'm with you. When the temperatures start cooling a little bit, I'm really a big fan of layering. So I love bringing all my layers out and just kind of being out in the park as long as possible. And it starts off cold in the morning, then you heat up, and it's just really nice time to be out there for all day. Whereas when you're in the heat, it can kind of get exhausting after a while. You have to pay attention to how you're doing with water. I mean, you always have to pay attention to how you're doing with water intake, but I think it's just a little more intense in the summer. So the fall is kind of a nice time to get out there and feel that crispness amongst the sequoias.
And a little less crowds, right? A little like
And a little less crowds, yeah.
mhm.
I would say that a lot of kiddos are back in school and families are back to their routines and being involved in sports activities and things like that. So it might be a little bit harder for them to get up into the parks.
Mm. So today, what is the weather like for you all? Like, is it warm, hot? I mean, it's still hot, isn't it? You're all laughing at me. Okay. All right. So it's still hot
We're
in the park.
in a bit of a heat advisory that's starting this week.
Okay. So, all right. So we're not even quite into fall. Fall starts, later, but next time we talk, maybe we'll be different. Isn't that amazing? It might be like, oh, you're wearing a sweater. Does anyone know what
Hard
it's
to
like to wear a
imagine.
sweater? Like, or jacket anymore. It's going to happen. It's going to be here. So everyone, if you go to discoverthesequoias.com, that is the website, and that will link you to all the parks and all the communities that are part of the Sequoia Tourism Council. Also for the National Park Service, go to their website, nps.gov/SEKI. If you go there, they have a whole plan your visit section where, all the hikes are listed, the campgrounds. I mean, everything there. You can find out about every mammal, every reptile, every flower, plant. I get stuck in the nps.gov site and it's dangerous because I sometimes forget to do a podcast because I'm like, look, they have marmots, and they do. We love your marmots. But also go to tularechamber.org, and that is how you're going to find out more about what's happening in Tulare, the city of Tulare, not the whole county, but you guys kind of like to connect with everyone. They have a wonderful public art trail that you can follow, same as Visalia. I think, Suzanne, the whole Tulare County is like one big public art destination, I think.
Yeah, there's
So
lots.
if you like art, and we're looking at, walking and shopping already, do it before the holidays happen. Start now. Go to all these wonderful downtowns, go to the shops, go to the galleries, and get those unique things that don't get shipped online at like what everybody else has. I'm just saying. So this is the whole thing about going out and traveling. You get to really connect with everyone and get unique things. So tularechamber.org, and then visit visalia.com. Is that right, Suzanne, for
Correct. Yeah,
Visalia?
got
Cool.
it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining us as always and keeping us posted on your beautiful California Sequoia Country region. Always fun. I'm just jealous because I'm not right there right now, and I always want to be there. But thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's California Sequoia Country Show. New episodes air every first Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific Time. You can keep up with the show at bigblendradio.com, but also plan your Tulare County escape. Go to discoverthesequoias.com.